when I was in 5th grade. My entire class had to memorize the preamble to the Constitution. I recall waiting patiently, standing up proudly, and projecting my voice. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America. First, we will look at my favorite part of the preamble and how it has not been upheld today. Next, we will look at the writers and thinkers that inspired the contents of the Constitution and what they believed in. And finally, we will look at the personal beliefs of the Founding Fathers when it comes to government and the people. My favorite part of the preamble has always been to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, and ensures us that the founders were not just going to protect their rights and civil liberties, but ours as well, 250 years later. They saw a country where the freedom of the people was the primary focus. It was citizens first, and the power of the government was limited. This is not the America that we see today. During the Great Depression and World War II, the federal government became increasingly powerful because during this time, the American people were in need of a strong government. The issue with this, however, is that the federal government has not yet relinquished that power back to the people, and the government has even continued to take power from the citizens. There are many instances that the federal government will overstep their bounds by interfering with local issues. One of these is education, which is mandated by federal dollars, but the education itself is dealt with at a local level. Public education must be dealt with and mandated by local dollars. States will also mandate things for the whole state that can overlook local areas. For example, rural America and metropolitan areas do not always share the same issues or needs. So one must ask the question, are our blessings of liberty secured if the government dictates what said liberties are? The thinkers of the Enlightenment would not think so. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, father of the social contract theory, stated that the government's first responsibility is to the people and protecting their liberties and freedoms. Rousseau compared the relationship between the government and the people like that of a father and a child. He argued that a father raises his child and protects them, and once the child is grown, they have the option to leave or to stay. Rousseau believed that the government and the citizens should operate the same way. The government protects the people and defends their rights, and when the citizens are no longer in need of that system of government, it should dissolve or change to fit what the citizens need. John Locke, whose writing inspired much of the Constitution, believed that the most basic law of human nature is the preservation of mankind and our natural rights. Locke's philosophy of natural rights and Rousseau's social contract theory go hand in hand in understanding political governments. The social contract is the idea that an individual's political obligations are directly connected to what is agreed upon by their society. Both Locke and Rousseau argue that the government's obligation is to honor that agreement and protect the rights of the people. Our founders agreed. Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of Treasury, wrote, "The sacred rights of mankind are not to be rummaged for among old parchments or musty records. They are written, as with the sunbeam in the whole volume of human nature, by the hand of divinity itself, and can never be erased or obscured by mortal power." Hamilton believed that our rights, freedoms, and liberties cannot be obstructed by any government. Thomas Jefferson, our third president, said, "Of all the views of this law, none is more important, none more legitimate, than that of rendering the people safe, as they are the ultimate guardians of their own liberty." Jefferson argued that the way that we view the law and the government as a whole is fundamentally important when it comes to the protection and preservation of our own rights, and that we the people must be in control. It is our duty as citizens of the United States to hold our government accountable for protecting our liberties. After all, it was Benjamin Franklin who said, "Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God." The American people, 250 years ago, fought, scratched, and clawed for a better life, to be truly free. We have continued to do so for generations, through countless political and social movements. As American citizens, we are promised a government that will protect us and our freedoms, no matter who we are. That is the ideal that America was built on. That freedoms are accessible to all, no matter where someone is from or what they believe. So as I sit in my high school civics class as we study the preamble, I am reminded of those days in 5th grade when we recited it all by memory. Now, as I think it through, I realize that no, the United States is not the country that the founders envisioned. However, I am ready to meet the challenge, controversy, and change that will allow me to someday walk in the shoes of Rousseau, Locke, Hamilton, Jefferson, and Franklin, and make the United States of America the greatest country on earth.